Okay. Magical range DPS.
So this will be range magical DPS using the gear of casting.
A brush. Arthur's wife is insanely funny. Later in the day, like after we watched this, and we went out to eat afterwards, we were talking about Pictomancer, obviously, and she was like, their weapon is a brush. Arthur's was like, no, it's magical paint. And she said that knowing it would trigger him. She was like, but no, it's a brush. And he was like, no, the Pictomancer's not going to hit the enemy with the brush. And then she was like, well, what if I go up in melee? Am I going to whack him with the brush? Like, she said that knowing that obviously that's not going to be the main attack. But she said that because she knew it would piss him off, dude. I guess you would have had to been there for the reaction, but dude, he was like so annoyed. She did that multiple times throughout the trip, man. It was really funny.
And they have a special weapon that is their brush.
She's funny, man. All right, so same shit. Required class none because base classes are fucking stupid.
From the job itself.
Okay. Starting level 80. We all knew that.
Starting level will be 80.
Starting location Gridania. Who kind of gives a shit?
And the job quest will be beginning in Gridania.
Okay. Let me see if there's another slide. I don't think there is, but the creations not only include creatures and weapons, but landscapes as well. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am not very excited about this job, but I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't play caster, so I don't give a shit about this job. However, one thing I am very excited about is the mods that this job is going to bring. I think that being able to paint shit is going to be absolutely phenomenal for the mod community. Here is my request. What I think would be an awesome mod pack, which you totally should not make and no one should download, is a Twitch chat mod pack. So like, I want to see concern, fat worry, XFFing, that type of shit. I think that painting XFF as a spell would be fucking awesome. Strummer. Media tour Strummer. Hyperdisc. Guess who's not getting invited? I want to see paint and Among Us assy. Oh my God. Just so proud standing there Among Us. Boom. Coming in. Dude, I think that would be so fucking funny, man. So I don't know what they're going to do with landscapes, but my first impression is like they paint a mountain, they do Mountain Buster. They paint like a fucking ocean, they do like Tsunami. You know, that type of shit. So from those of you that don't know where this job comes from, it comes from Final Fantasy VI. There's a little girl that you get on your team. Her name's Realm, if I remember correctly, and she paints and, damages the enemy. There's this part in Final Fantasy VI. Okay, you guys know Ultros? Dude, this is like so sad, man. I'll never forget it. The first time I saw it, it made me feel so bad for Ultros. So anyway, you're fighting Ultros and she paints Ultros and the battle stops. And Ultros is like, oh my God, that's me. I'm just some stupid octopus. And he literally just runs away. He literally just runs away. The battle's over. I felt so bad for him because Ultros is like kind of a funny character, right? He's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a character that fucks with you in trolls, but then he actually gets sad. It's all fun and games until someone actually gets hurt. You know what I mean? I'll never forget that part.
But regardless of what enemy they're facing, FF14's Pictomancer can draw creatures, weapons, and even landscapes.
As evoking such wonders takes time, the Pictomancer also keeps insta-cast abilities. Okay, so basically they're going to be able to move and cast, like a fucking summoner, but they also have casts.
And the Pictomancer does not simply attack, they also have magic that can buff their party. We wouldn't say it's a full support job if that's what you're thinking, but it is not quite so attack-focused as something like Black Mage.
Okay, right here. This is where I'm worried. Where is this supposed to fit in? It's not damage like Black Mage. It's not support like Red Mage. This is what worries me. I think this is going to be a dead job on arrival. Look, man, I know that's a bummer to hear, okay? And I hope I'm wrong. But the fact that they didn't give Pictomancer a res is horrible. It is a huge mistake, in my opinion. Like, let's look at early prog. What situation would you want a caster that doesn't have a res? If that's the situation, right, which typically on the 4th turn, you can't die anyway, like normally, like high DPS groups can have a death maybe, but typically you can't. So in that case, you're not going to take this, you're going to take Black Mage. If you want support, you're not going to take this because it doesn't have a res. So you're going to take Red Mage or you're going to take Summoner. Here's my issue. Because it doesn't have a res, it is defaulted into the category of Black Mage, right? Because there's 4 casters, 2 res, 2 without. So the two without, whichever one does the highest damage, the other one's going to get fucked. Okay, now you guys are saying big damage buff. Let's say that its damage buff is ridiculous. Well, now Black Mage gets fucked. So my point being here is that the fact that they did not give it a res is more detrimental than them giving it a res. Now, the casters have two different categories, a res and a non-res. The non-res, you are going to take purely for damage, unless you just like it. Now, I'm talking about early prog and potentially speedruns. You think I'm exaggerating balance issues a bit with this? I don't think so. I think that people that don't want to acknowledge this are hype and excited. And I get it. I understand. I think that in a vast majority of cases, if Pictomancer is worse than like a Black Mage, for example, it's not going to fucking matter. I said at the very beginning of this discussion, because I knew some of you were going to get ass hurt, that I'm talking about early prog and or speedruns. These are the type of things you have to think about. Here is another thing to consider. There might be a 2-caster comp, but I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because of how balanced the melee are and how much damage melee does. Now that could change. 2 casters might be a thing in Dawntrail. Maybe. We're not going to find out until like the media tour. Well, 2 casters would remove 1 melee because you have to bring a physical range. This is assuming that 5% is going to be a thing, but we'll see. Square Enix is normally pretty good about balancing shit, okay? Now, they fucked up a lot in Endwalker, but they were S tier in Shadowbringers. You know, they were really good in Stormblood as well. They're typically good about balance, okay? So I do think that Picto is going to be fine, but I think in like early prog, either Black Mage or Picto is going to be shafted. Like I was saying earlier, on the 4th fight of every raid tier, you typically can't have a death. So the res loses all value if you're going for a kill. If you're going for prog, then the res still has insane value. But once you've learned everything and you're just going for the clear and you're hitting in rage on DPS, then switching over to Black Mage is better because you already know everything. If you have a death, you're dead anyway. So the res has no value. So that's when you would bring this. Now the question is, would you bring this or would you bring Black Mage? One could argue that Pictomancer's rotation could be insanely easier because a Black Mage, it's like Black Mage is like way harder to play, right, than the other casters. So if you have an insanely easier job with sub 1% less DPS, you're probably going to take this. Oh, and another thing is its rotation might actually wind up being better for the fight as well. All I'm saying, man, is these are the things to think about. But honestly, I don't think any of this is going to matter past week 1. The first raid tier is already easier than the other 2. You already have more gear because of the primal weapon. So they typically will not balance for the primal weapon. At least they haven't in the previous expansions.
So I think you have a good idea now in your mind of what Pictomancer might be like. So with that, let's take another look at the video.
Take a look at the video. See the footage. See, what if that was just like an Among Us assy, dude? That'd be so funny, I feel. That'd just be so funny. Just a nice, thick Among Us, dude. Okay. Okay. Okay, one thing that I can tell you that is already going to annoy the fuck out of me are these sounds, man. These fucking sounds, they gotta go. We need a sound pack. Use the plugin that filters sound. You like the sound? You guys like the sound? Okay, what do you guys think about the sound? I'm not the target audience for this class, so I'm kind of neutral on it. So like, if you like the sound, that's awesome. If you don't like the sound, that's awesome. Like, I don't really give a shit. I mean, I'm probably never going to play this shit. It's just not the role that I typically play. But hopefully they fix it, because, dude, that sounds... I'm not a fan of the sound.
Hi. ありがとうございます。新ジョブピクトマンサーいかがだったでしょうか。
Thank you. How was it?
配信の 先にいる光の選手の方からですね、質問が届いておりました。
Works in the medium of mixed aether, wielding a specialized brush to render their images reality. These creations include not only creatures and weapons, but landscapes. As evoking such wonders take time, the Pictomancer. Okay, so basically this just says they have a brush and a paintbrush. They paint creatures and landscapes. The Moogle was a fucking laser. The shooting star or whatever was like ice or some shit. I don't know. It was like a, oh man, dude. Yo, what about a Bob Ross pack, dude? That'd be sick, man. You'd paint like Bob Ross paintings, dude. That'd be sick. As evoking such wonders take time, the Pictomancer also keeps insta-cast abilities. Okay, so that means that they're gonna, in addition to having like casts, they're gonna have like also insta-cast, so they're gonna be able to move. They're just basically saying this caster is gonna be like all the others, except for no res.
So we have a question from the chat asking, okay, even if I am just terrible at art, can I be Pictomancer? I am so bad at art that it is like just so dreadful. And
Question
I'm
from
fine,
chat.
so you'll be fine. It does not require artistic skill.
Hi.
So I guess to finish up the Pictomancer, it's not really my thing, but I thought it looked kind of interesting. I'm really excited about the mods, and I don't know where it's going to fall. Hopefully it isn't severely undertuned so that people can take it week 2. I think the biggest thing with this is the res, man. Because now there's this stupid subcategory within the casters. That's actually the biggest issue. A question for the Stremmer. Can Lil Zeems be used as a weapon like a Pictomancer's brush? What sort of things does he draw? I await your reply. Concern. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If Picto doesn't have a res and it doesn't have the damage, then where does it fall? Besides just being in the game for people that want to play it, I guess numbers-wise, it won't really fit anywhere. But this game really isn't about numbers, you know what I'm saying? You can normally play whatever the fuck you want, so it's not gonna matter. I don't ever think that there will be an instance where you'll like block out a certain job